came with one question that's been answered. I now have another, and it has to do with selfishness. So talk to me more about that, because what I'm finding in my relationships is the same energy in different relationships over years that continues to come back to me and disappoint me. And I think what I'm recognizing is that I'm not doing a very good job of taking care of myself. I'm not being selfish. And I don't know how to do that very well.
Let's see if we can sort this out before it gets too confusing.
Good.
Here's the thing that we really want you to understand about selfishness.
Yeah.
What selfishness is a determination to have a relationship with self. Now, we had a discussion about this, about how you are an extension of source energy. So when you, in your physical ego personality, decide to truly be selfish, what we mean by that is you've decided that first and foremost you're going to connect with your source.
Yes.
With yourself.
Yes.
With your source, with yourself, with your source, with yourself, with your source, with yourself. In other words, selfishness is being self. And when you are allowing who you really are to be present in this moment, you're clear-minded, you're joyful, you're appreciative, you have so much to give, you see. So we're not saying be only selfish, we're saying be selfish first. We're saying connect first and then give everything you've got to give to anybody who's vibrationally up to speed with it. But a lot of you hook up with self, and then you try to give it to those that aren't a vibrational match to it.
Exactly.
And when they don't take it, then you get mad, and then you're not hooked up to self.
Exactly.
And then you blame them.
Yes.
Because you don't feel good.
Absolutely.
Because you were hooked up to self, and you were trying to help them hook up to self, but they weren't vibrationally up to speed with it, and so it didn't take, and so then round and round and round you go. And so that's the pattern that you're talking about.
Yes.
And that's why you have not really discovered the art of selfishness, not really yet.
Exactly.
You've discovered how to get connected, but you haven't discovered how to stay connected no matter what they're doing. And that's where that unconditional love comes in. Unconditional love says, I want so much to be the loving being that I am, that I'm going to love you even when you're not lovable. I'm going to get so good at writing down your positive aspects and activating your positive aspects in me that I am literally blind to anything that's not a vibrational match to love that's in you. In other words, I'm just not going to see the stuff that doesn't make me feel good when I see it. I'm going to tune myself to my true selfish nature so that when I look at you, I see the things that are a match to that. And then we'll have this high-level, good-feeling relationship. Haven't you ever noticed that you can have a relationship with someone and then you notice that they're having a very different relationship with that other person? And then you notice they're having still yet another relationship with that person over there. And don't you see it even with yourself? Some people bring the joy out of you. Some people bring the petty out of you. And nobody could bring anything out of you that wasn't there to be activated to begin with. But people have vibrational tendencies, and those tendencies are active, and when you hook up with them, you sort of can feel what's active in yourself. So when we say you want to get really selfish, what we mean is you want to activate the very best of yourself, the very best feeling of yourself as often as you can, and then you will have no issues with anyone, because those not up to speed with you won't come to you. Law of attraction is not going to hook you up with those that are different from you. And when they are up to speed with you and they come to you, you're going to have a glorious time.
So to stop attracting those who are not up to speed with me,
you must give your attention to the best part of them. And one of two things will happen. You see, if they've got 10 characteristics and 9 of them are horrible and 1 of them's good, and you fixate on the one that feels good to you, so that as far as you're concerned, that's who they are. That's the only part of them that's active in you. So if that's a really insignificant part of them, they'll show up in your experience only occasionally. If that's who they really want to be and aspire to be and are trying to be, you'll draw more and more and more and more and more of that out of them. So there'll be more and more and more and more of that. But if they really are not willing to be the good feeling being that you've activated in you, then law of attraction will cause you to go your separate ways. If there's somebody unpleasant, who's sticking to you like glue, it's because you keep activating the unpleasant part of them, and that's why they're hanging around. But usually what happens is there's things about them you like, there's things about them you don't like, they're all active, so you get all of it. That's usually the relationships that most people have.
Yeah.
Because most people aren't choosing what they focus upon selfishly based upon how it feels. Most people are choosing what they focus upon by which things overtly out there in their face the most. It'd be like sitting there in front of the television and just watching what goes by. Esther had the Weather Channel on the other day because they were getting ready to drive for a few days, and she was sort of interested in what was happening around the country. And there were so many medical commercials that were scattered in that she shouted at the television. She said, "I'm here to see the weather. I don't want to hear about all of the things that you think are wrong with me." In other words, it was just annoying. She said to Jerry, "I'm not going to watch it anymore. I'm going to get it online. I'm not going to subject myself to their indoctrination." Well, you sort of have to pick and choose everything that way. In other words, when the unpleasant things are a higher percentage than the pleasant things in a relationship, it's time to rethink the relationship, yes. But what is really time to rethink is your own selfish nature, because you're clearly not being selfish enough that you're choosing the best feeling thoughts about that person. You're letting them show themselves to you as they choose to show themselves to you, and you're not defining the criteria of what you want to see. Ooh, that was really good.
That was very good.
So what you might want to say to all new friends or old friends, "Hey, I've decided who you are, and let me tell you." And then just read off the list. You're fun to be with. You're always on time when we meet. You pay your own way. Whatever you want. You make me laugh often. You are charming to be with. We go to new places where we have not been before when we're together. You make my heart sing. That's who you are. And every time you see them, that's who you are. That's who you are. That's who you are. That's who you are. And it's a rare one who will say, "No, I am not."
Because what I also find is that I don't like the parts of me that I focus on.
But you see,
And that's very uncomfortable.
well, they're always reflecting that back. In other words, we don't want you to assess them and then take blame and then say, "Oh, it's a mirror, they're reflecting back." We want you to say, "Hey, I'm too selfish to suffer over this. I'm too selfish to feel bad. I'm going to find a better feeling thought about you and about me. I'm going to get off the stove."
And even if getting off the stove is only good for me, is it not only good for me?
Well, here's the thing. This is the really wonderful thing about being selfish.
Okay.
When you are so selfish that you insist on choosing thoughts that connect you with who you really are,
Yes.
you are of value to everyone that you hold as your object of attention. So it turns out your selfishness is the most wonderful thing that you could give to anyone. If you're not selfish enough to be hooked up to source, you don't have anything to give them anyway.
Yeah.
That's where the old misery loves company comes from. So, as we are moving forward here today, it is our desire to do the best sales job that Esther has ever been able to find with words that match the vibration of our meaning, to help you remember that you are worthy, that you are powerful, that you are creators, that you are good, that life is supposed to be good for you, that life is supposed to be fun, that you can move yourself vibrationally if you want to, that you can understand your guidance system, that it is alive and active within you, that you have the ability, if you are willing to care about how you feel and you're willing to feel your way up the emotional scale, that you can get to a vibrational place where any desire that you have hatched, and there are many of them, can come to you. We do want to say to you that you'll never get them all done, because as quickly as you manifest one, you'll hatch another. In other words, it is the eternal nature of all of our beings. You would not plan your vacation itinerary and say, "I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, I'm going to go here, 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 here. Let's see all of these places, and then I'll come back home." And then you look at it objectively and you say, "Wait a minute, I'm going to do all that and come back home, and I'm already home, so why go?" You don't go on vacation to get it done. And you didn't come forth to create this and this and this and this and this and this to get it done. You came for the fun of creation. And if creation isn't fun for you, it's because you're wanting things that you're not lining up with. And we know that's not fun. When you want something that you're not letting in, you've got a tug of war going on inside of you. And we know sometimes you say, I wish that I had never come to wanting this thing that seems to defy me, because I'm miserable now in its absence. I wish I hadn't met her. I wish I hadn't met him. I love him. He won't come to me. I'm in misery because this person I want will not come to me. You must find a way of feeling good about the things that you want. And when you do, no matter what it is, it will come to you. It is amazing to us that humans can get so sideways of the guidance system with which they are born that they can actually lose sight of what seemed like a fail-proof system, that good is good, that when it feels good, it is good for you, and that it is representing good. Not many of you lay on the hot stove and feel the pain of it and say, it's just what our family does. My mother laid on the stove. Her mother laid on the stove. Our church teaches us to lay on the stove. We are taught that if we lay on the stove enough, that we'll go to heaven. You don't do that because there's enough discomfort in laying on the stove that every instinct in your body wants to pull you away from it. And we want you to activate within yourself your awareness of your own guidance system so much so that when you stumble into a thought of self-condemnation or condemning of someone else, that you draw away from it just like that hot stove, that you recognize the inappropriateness of that thought in terms of who you really are, because it just does not feel right to you. You can just feel that it's not who you are. You probably remember the first time that you got together with friends and talked negatively about another friend. Esther can remember it vividly. She remembers her body shaking. She remembers trembling in the middle of it. She remembers the moment. She remembers the faces. She remembers the discussion. She remembers the discord. And it bothered her more the first time than the second time. And it bothered her more the second time than the third time. And it bothered her more the third time than the fourth time. And then after a while, she didn't mind laying on that stove so much because everybody around her sort of laid on that stove. And little by little, she lost track of the sensitivity of who she really is on that issue. In other words, she became socialized or integrated into the way society approaches things and lost sight of the way she, as God force, approaches things. It's easy to lose track of where you are when you lose track of your guidance system. But when you regain conscious awareness of what your emotions mean, and you remember that when you're in alignment with your source, with that which you call God, when you're in alignment with that, you are clear-minded, you are radiating love, you feel wonderful, you are in the state of thriving. Every cell in your body is receiving the beneficial energy. And when you feel less than good, you are depriving yourself by virtue of the thought that you are choosing to focus upon of that connection. And so the art of allowing, which is what we call these gatherings, is the art of allowing my, in this physical body, connection to the source that is me. And the better I feel, the more I am practicing the art of allowing. And the worse I feel, the less I am practicing the art of allowing. Whatever you're living is only about your vibrational relationship with the stream of well-being. That's it. The stream's flowing to you. The well-being wants you, and you would be thriving on all levels of your being if you weren't doing that thing you do that's not letting your thriving happen. And when you are doing that thing you do that is not allowing the thriving to happen, you always could know that you're doing the thing you're doing that's not allowing the thriving to happen, because negative emotion, to some degree or another, is present within you. So negative emotion always means I'm thinking some thought and have activated some vibration that is preventing me from being a vibrational match to the well-being that I would be living if I were not doing that thing I'm doing that's keeping the well-being from being there. Did you get that? You never walk into a room and look for a dark switch. There is not one. There is not a source of darkness. You don't flip a switch and then this misty stuff covers up the light.